You recently did a video where you spent time in the gym with Alex Megos, one of, if not the strongest climbers in the world, at least on some metrics. What were your big takeaways in spending time with Alex?
I mean, I know Alex a little bit from before, so I know how crazy he is. He trains so much. It's incredible how much how much training his body is able to absorb. I think is crazy. He reminds me a little bit about Jakob Schubert in that way. I think those guys are probably the people I know who can absorb the most amount of training. And then you have people on the other end of the scale, like Chris Sharma, David Lama used to be like that too, who were just very naturally gifted. But like I remember when we shot with Alex, this was shot, I think it was in March or April, so he was training for the Olympics.
Right.
And we met him at like 10 o'clock or something in the morning, and he had already trained for like 4 hours or something crazy like that. And then we started shooting with him for another 3 hours. And it was the same, I was just up in Flatanger actually like a week ago, and we shot a little bit with him, not too much, but I went into in the morning I went into the barn to warm up a little bit, and I thought I was all alone. And then behind like a tractor in the back, like dirty back, he was doing yoga. He had been sitting there for a few hours doing yoga, he's just so dedicated in everything he does. And yeah, he's obviously like really, really strong. He might be like the strongest when it comes to like finger strength. He might be the strongest guy in the world. So
Yeah, it's an incredible work ethic. I remember asking him like what was his idea of a rest day, and he was like, "Well, maybe run 10 miles and do some campus boarding." I'm like, "That's a Alex Megos rest day. That's a little bit different than the rest of us." And I have spent some time with him out here at the Red River Gorge and seen his like morning yoga routine, and yeah, he's just incredibly dedicated to climbing and training, but also admits that one of his biggest struggles is that more dynamic style of competitive climbing, and it's something that you are very strong at. And so I'm curious what the exchange was like and what that experience was like working more of those like Olympic style boulders.
well, I'm strong compared to the average gym goer probably, but not compared to him. I think he's still better than me in the comp style. But we're probably we're more even than on the pure strength stuff. No, but I think he was in really good shape before coming into the Olympics. I thought he would do, like, I watched him in the comps leading up to the Olympics, and I thought he looked really, really strong, especially in lead. So it was a shame that he barely made finals. I think if he made finals, a lot could have happened. So that was too bad. But
Yeah.
I think he's gotten a lot better also in the comp style, and it's also cool to see that him, Adam, and Jakob, who are all, I mean, they're a little bit younger than me, but I competed with all of them, and they're just a couple of years younger than me. That they're all going strong. Sometimes they even take the whole podium. That is cool to see. I think that's also my experience, that age is not really that limiting in climbing. The reason that I retired was because I wasn't that excited anymore. It was not really physical for me at all, and it almost makes me think that Alex Megos is a little bit right. Maybe rest days are overrated. Maybe it's just like we say we need rest days more of as an excuse, but in reality, you don't really need any rest days. I don't think so, though. I think that is very individual, because I have tried not doing any rest days, and I feel like my climbing just gets so bad that it doesn't even, there's no point of training. For me, it's better to rest enough and do those like really high quality sessions. But I think, it's very individual how people train. I'm also wondering if in the future climbing will be more like everyone will train more similar. Like in other sports, I have the impression that people do pretty much the same type of, I mean, there are different philosophies and stuff, but I feel like they all train pretty similar. I think in climbing it's very different. But then again, you have so many different body types too in climbing. You know, some people are that is a big difference from when I competed. When I competed, most guys were pretty small, but now you see also like really tall guys compete and do really well. You know, there's the French guy who's like 6'4" or 5 or something, and he made finals in lead, which is really impressive. So I think it's really cool that there are a lot of different body types now in climbing.
All right, y'all, just a quick minute here to talk about every climber's favorite topic, finger strength, and how we can build it. And I'm telling you guys, this has changed the game for me. Check out the Force board. I've been using it for a while now, and I am already seeing the difference in my finger endurance and finger strength. And that's because it's allowing me to precisely dial in what I need in any given workout. I mean, it's tiny, so I can throw it in my bag and take it to the crag for my warm-up or to the gym or when I'm traveling. It logs everything in the app automatically. I can even see how I stack up against the community with regard to my finger strength. It's gamifying the way I'm training. Dr. Tyler Nelson's been on the show to talk about how effective this kind of training is, and I am loving it. If you're a geek about training your fingers like I am, you got to check out the Force board. It's cheaper than a pair of climbing shoes, and it's going to level up how you train your fingers. Also, if you hit that link down there and use code STRUGGLE10 at checkout, you're going to score yourself $10 off just like that. Plus the show gets a little bit of love. So it's a win-win. All right, hit that link and let's get some strong fingers. Yeah, no doubt. And I hear you about the individualization as well, because I feel like, I mean, Alex Megos, speaking of him specifically, he's cut from a bit of a different cloth. You know, he's just always been kind of this German machine, like half man, half cyborg, and seems like he can go pretty hard. I'm curious how strong his fingers are, because it looked like you guys were hanging out by the Beastmaker there, and he was just kind of like chilling on like the small edge, and that was wild to me. I mean, this was after like 4 or 5 hours already of training and climbing.
Yeah, and with like taped up fingers and everything.
Right.
Yeah, no, I couldn't hang off of that ledge at all, and he was just chilling. And he's strong in crimp, but he's also very strong in open hand. You know, he's basically raced up in Frankenjura, so he's really good in open hand. I think that's probably the main difference in finger strength is whenever we do open hand stuff. You know, hanging from like shallow one finger monos and stuff. He's just so good.
It's wild. It's crazy to see him climb those like Action Direct and some of those like.
Yeah, did you see now he did change in like 5 days?
So I wanted to ask you about this. Like you were in Flatinger when he did this, because when I talked to him, I was like, "What's your anti-style?" He said, "Well, like Flatinger, knee pads, any of that." And then he goes up there and climbs one of the hardest routes in the world in like a few days.
Yeah, that's good. He tried it when I was there. I think he did it like 2 days later or something. He tried it. He looked really good on it. He said that the crux, you know, the corner thing, that's really famous. He had no problem with that, so he just focused on the upper part. But people basically, they do it very differently than Adam now, because they use knee pads in a very different way. But still, I mean, no one's been able to do it not even close to that quick. So I think he's in really great shape right now. I think that he probably has that Olympic shape, you know, still. Or maybe he was still a little bit tired during the Olympics, and he's now all of a sudden like in his best shape. It's hard sometimes to time the peak, you know.
Right.
So maybe he has the peak is happening right now. Maybe he's going to do big in silence and everything, you know. He's still up there, so.
Oh my gosh, dude. Hey, if you really like this conversation here with Magnus, what a good guy. I talked with him for almost 2 hours on the podcast, where he shared all sorts of training tips and tricks, and also a bunch of stories that I'd never heard before, some crazy ones, in fact. And it's all right there on the podcast for zero cost, so check it out.